Oh my gosh, did D figure something out on the fly? No, I don't see any live over there. It says that it's live, guys. No, Sarah May, it's all good. MC Robin, what's up? This is not on Rumble. No, I usually don't go. I only do them occasionally on Rumble with the coffee shop talks. For some reason, they don't do well on Rumble. Oh, what is up? We are live on YouTube. How did I figure that out? Oh, tell your friends, tell everybody that D Booma figured it out. I'm going to put the link if you guys want to jump over there for whatever reason. Nothing against Substack. But I put the link in there, and then I'm going to put it over in the Telegram. And I think I can share the comments. I think I can share the comments on there on the screen. I don't know how I did that. How the heck did I just pull that off? Hey, Sally Ann got over here. Jill Woodworth. Yes. Okay. We're getting there. And in lieu of that, just because we want a little bit of tune at the beginning of this, and for everybody on YouTube that's just watching this, wondering what the heck's going on. Initially, it didn't go on to YouTube, so I had to retry. Everybody's being really patient with me on Coffee Shop Talk number 30 live. But let's get a little. Got to get a little jazz, light background, show the comments on the stage. See if we can get this to work. There you are. All right. And we've got Willy Wonka's Coffee Factory. Everybody on Substack, thank you for having the patience with me. Michelle says, did you hear Trump is making a police force bigger than FBI with off-grid prison camps? Oh, dear Lord, have mercy. Please have mercy. I have not heard that. I'm going to have to look into that. I don't know why he would do that. Let's just get rid of the FBI. I heard, all right, pause that. We are on now. So I heard that someone was predicting that by the end of the year, Dan Bongino would be gone from the FBI, and that by midterms, Cash would be done at the FBI. I can't remember who it was that said that, but that's what we kind of got going on with that whole situation. But I had not heard that about Trump creating a police force bigger than the FBI. Is he creating it straight from the Masonic Brotherhood? That would be my first question. So 444 hurts so good. My name is Mark. I don't know if you want your whole name out there. So the Texas flooding allegedly happened in a town designed for major updates, kind of like in LA where the fires happened and designated future developments for the Olympics. I would imagine geoscam engineering would be related to any type of bad weather. Anyways, what can we do? Just keep your vibration high and try to stay in balance. Absolutely. Try to keep your vibration high, stay in balance. And I know some people that are dealing with those situations, our prayers are with you and the families. And I mentioned that earlier in the stream before I got the YouTuber going. And we got Margaret Walter joined on the YouTube, and we got those purple crowns. I think it's just how much you actually interact apparently on YouTube. I looked it up after the last one. So prayers to everybody that's dealing with that. But that's the thing. It's just like, aren't they manipulating the weather? And the way that the guy that I saw the clip from, I mean, maybe I could go find it. I didn't really want this to be like news heavy, but we're in the coffee shop, so anything really goes. I had some videos on coffee, but let me look for that interview. Geo, did they call it geoengineering? Should be the top one. Top talk about. It was some guy and he's on the mainstream news talking about. Oh, there it is. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna show this. Why not? How are we looking? Everything good? Is everything okay in the Willy Wonka's Coffee Factory? Come in, Rangoon. Don't know what that means. Okay. I got my cup. I'm drinking my coffee. I'm only on my second cup of coffee, about halfway through, so I'm mildly tarded. Let's just say tarded. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Welcome, Lee Fryer, that just joined. Okay, so let me share this on the screen. Let me get my life together. The CEO, what is this? This is the CEO of Rainmaker and Red Pill Drifter. He's kind of into the Q stuff and whatnot, and I'm not against anybody that's in that, but he shares really good stuff, so I'll give him that. He's even shared out Megan Walsh, and he's shared out Sabrina's work, and so I really appreciate that. Anyways, he's calling it a chemtrail company. I'm not sure that's what Rainmaker would call themselves. So I think they would call themselves a cloud seeding company. Anyways, the company responsible for geoengineering the area near Camp Mystic in Texas right before the floods, they have blood on their hands. You all should be raging. Where are all the people who told us that chemtrails aren't real? And I can't believe that they're putting this out there, because that is the case. We get called loony for believing in chemtrails, and that ties all into what we were talking about on the Synergist panel and with what's coming, what is going on in this world that they're not talking about. Like, you don't get the Q decoders talking about the chemtrails and why they're still going under Trump. Why would they still be going under the white hats? Anyways, I don't want to get a little rage going in the morning, but let's watch this. Everybody can see it on the screen. All right, let's do it. I'm going to cover up the Fox News. Yes, I am a little crazy. Where the heck am I? We're all the way over here. Let me bring this over and let's do it.
People can listen to longer form interviews that you have done about some of the safety and research that you've done on what you use to cloud seed. Now, I want you to please address a larger question, which is one that is somewhat broad and perhaps even religious, but are you playing God? Are you messing with things that you shouldn't be messing with when it comes to the weather?
I get this question all the time, and I totally think it makes sense to ask it. My intention is to serve God. I think that in Genesis 1:26 through 28, and then throughout the Psalms and the rest of the Bible, God tells us to take dominion over and steward creation, both for our sake, creation's itself, and then to honor him. And so if there are droughts and we have the tools to mitigate the damage done by them for our sake and for nature itself, then we should deploy those for the sake of tending to and stewarding the world. And if we weren't to do that, if we were to ban cloud seeding wholesale, despite knowing that it's safe, despite knowing it could help alleviate these problems, we'd be abdicating our God-given responsibility to be stewards of the world.
Okay, let's address what people can.
All right, so in comes the Bible quoting and stewards of the world and all kinds of ridiculous nonsense that they obviously want to say for PR purposes after this tragedy is going on, and people want answers as to what the heck is happening. Before we get to that, though, that's perfect. Margaret nails it that this is the son of Joe Dirt, and they put the son of Joe Dirt out there to take the hit for this one. And like I said, tragedies, I'm really like, it's freaking sad. And but Margaret nailed it there. This is the son of Joe Dirt coming out and trying to explain. In this portion of the interview, it's more of like, PR control and what they do had nothing. And then I think there is a clip of him saying that he wanted to make it clear that what they do had nothing to do with the flooding in Texas. You're changing. I mean, we can go to 444 hertz. So good on this one. You're changing the frequency. You're changing the energy. You're changing the electromagnetism. You're changing the weather. You're changing everything by doing what you're doing. Of course, it had an influence. How much influence? I don't know. But you had an influence on that. What happened with the flooding? And I think that's the case with all the stuff that we've seen, whether it's I mean, there's a whole nother discussion, I guess, to be had when it comes to the fires in Maui that no one talks about anymore. None of the Q decoders want to talk about the fires in Maui anymore. Oh, they'll say it's a war between the good guys and the bad guys. Wait, aren't all the bad guys already in jail and taken care of, and they're replaced by clones and doubles? Anyways, I don't want to get on that talk. Anyways, Margaret, you freaking nailed it. Yes, stewards. He said we're stewards of the earth. He went to the Bible quotes and stuff like that. And he's on Fox, so that you got a lot of the old Christian people watching that. But yes, prayers for all the victims. This is coming from 444. Hurts so good. Let's bring it back to making sure prayer for the victims. Thanks for that, bro. He's got the right idea, but the implementation of these technologies is the exact opposite in the ways it's being used from what the son of Joe Dirt just said. Yeah, where's the proof that they had nothing to do with it? Explain to us. What's up, Marilyn? And Ophelia, what's happening? Explain to us what you do. And if you had nothing to do with it, why did they send you out? Because you wouldn't be even on the news. This guy wouldn't be on the news if there wasn't a reason to go out there and try to explain to people that they had nothing to do with it. Because people I'd never even heard of Rainmaker. I didn't know that there was actually a company out there admitting to cloud seeding, geoengineering. We knew about it, but they've been gaslighting us for a while now, and then this happens and they send them out. But this, when it comes to like what I do on this channel a lot is I try to break down disinformation and misinformation the best of my ability. I fell for a lot of stuff, but you had the flooding in North Carolina that I think people are still suffering from, but that was horrendous. And then you had these people like the Gene Decodes, and I think it came from Ginger's Liberty Lounge, and I'm never going to let them forget this. You even had icons. You had, I think it got to Captain Kyle. And a lot of these guys pushing this idea. Oh, Ariel even shared it, so it was getting shared on X like crazy, about the High Horseman, the biggest human trafficker of all time, who changed his face like 20 different surgeries to fool everybody and get away with it. The flooding was all to go in there and capture them and save a bunch of children and yada, yada, yada. What happened to that story? What's the story for this in Texas? What are the cute? They just probably won't talk about it. But ask Joe Rambo and Dave of News Treason and the MG Show and all these. Well, I don't know, man. The MG Show, they're even trying to hush up the freaking Epstein stuff. They're making excuses for the Epstein stuff. They're telling us to move on from the Epstein stuff. Let me see if I can find that clip. Waters Marty. So hard to find this guy. Here we go. Let's see if I can find it. But these guys are trying to make us forget about all these things, and then they're gaslighting us when it comes to the real stuff. I mean, yes, here it is. I can't believe this is. I mean, this was not my plan, but we could throw plans out the window as soon as we get to this. Let's get to this. If you guys don't know who the MG Show is, then all you need to know is that I've been beefing with them, and they started it. They called me out because I started exposing Q stuff and actually doing research into it, and then they freaked the heck out on me for some reason. Like they had never talked about me ever before, and then all of a sudden they freaked out on me. It was kind of weird. Anyways, I want to show you how they are also, because there's the clip of Trump asking, like, how can you still be asking about Jeffrey Epstein? And so this is Marty Waters on X, Deep State Clowns, Jeffrey Pedersen, who's in the Matrix. He's the one here on the left. And Shannon Townsend, who goes by Shady Groove, is here on the right, are now telling you to forget about Jeffrey Epstein. It's like they are just there to, like, I don't want to say inappropriate things, but they are just there to do whatever anything that Trump does, he is God. That is their cult. Worship Trump and everything that he does. They say cutting the strings to NGOs will end child trafficking. That's part of it. But anyways, it's definitely time to cut the strings from these two morons. And so it's just a 15-second clip. I just want to show this because people are gaslighting, whether it comes to chemtrails, geoengineering, the fires in Maui, fires in various places. And now we have gaslighting going on with regards to Epstein. And it's all because even Trump was asking reporters why they continue to ask about Epstein when we have all these successes and these tragedies like the ones going on in Texas. Bro, I voted for Trump. I voted for Trump this last time. We voted him in to bring justice, and Cash and Dan and Pam Bondi are fools. And then even Trump is trying to get us to like stop talking about Epstein. And now the MG show comes right in to, like I said, I have some locker room talk in my head. But they're bending over for Trump. Anything that he says, come on, Trump daddy, tell us what to say. This is what they're doing now.
All right, so this is what you should really be concerned about, okay? Not some dead guy, okay? Look, if you cut the strings to the NGOs, to all the things that we've been talking about here on the MG show, there will be no trafficking. I mean, I don't think... All right, so this is what...
what Marty was doing in the background there when he was recording that, shredding some paper. But seriously, no, man, we're never, conspiracy theorists are never going to let 9/11 go. We're never going to let Haiti go. We're never going to let Epstein go. Ghislaine Maxwell is not locked up for nothing, for not having a client list that she was bringing girls to. We're never going to let it go. And for the MG show and anybody that tries to do that, tries to do what those idiots just did because of what Trump said, are freaking idiots, fools, and dumbasses, and aren't worth your time. And everybody on this channel already knows that. But if for some reason you still think that they're worth watching, blood's on your hands as well, because we're not going to forget. And you can say that Trump's playing 5G chess. Okay, fine, whatever. But I don't believe it anymore. Anyways, like the fact that he's saying that kind of crap now is pretty straightforward. And Bibi Netanyahu came and is trying to get him nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. He's all in with Israel. Like, I'm getting so frustrated. Anyways, you guys are having some major conversations over here. Salian is saying, I voted for Trump from term number 1, not whoever the current guy is. That's the other question. Is it the same guy? Because it doesn't sound like the same guy, but that's a whole nother conspiracy, I guess. But it doesn't seem like the same Trump from We Have It All. I Caught Them All. Taking down the FBI is going to be one of the greatest. I can't remember how he phrased it, but like he totally talked about how he caught them all and that it was going to be one of the greatest things that he had ever accomplished. And then now there's nothing. Drain the swamp, and the best is yet to come. And now we got Trump that is just we're gonna I don't even know what this Trump sucks. Anyways, what better choice did we have? Not that we really have a vote anyways. And that was the thing, you know, for people like us that are a lot more reasonable than the left. I can't stand the left still. But I have friends and family that still, you know, even think that Biden was a great president. How can people really believe that Biden was a good president? Oh gosh, but that was the thing. What was the choice? That or Hillary, or Hillary the first time, and then Kamala. Biden was a good president. He's so much better than Trump. Man, I don't freaking know. I think they just have different purposes. Somebody yesterday on Substack released the Epstein list. I saw that they released the list on X too. Who was it that shared that crap? I don't know if I bookmarked that or not, but it's a list that we've seen before. It wasn't like there's nothing new about what was released because we've all seen the damn list before. Yeah, I didn't bookmark it. I'm not going to go search for it. But the list is circulating again. It's not like it hasn't been out there. It's like stupid to think that there's not a list. If nothing else, then Pam Bondi can sit down with the list that has been put out there on the internet and go through the names and tell us why they're not. I mean, good Lord. It's pretty much well documented that Bill Clinton and Bill Gates especially were on that damn thing. Going on the Lolita Express and all that kind of stuff. And so you're having dinner now? Man, where are you at? Oh man, welcome Denise Requeda. Awesome. All right. You guys want to get into the coffee stuff that I had, or do you we can talk news. I don't care. What's up, Janelle? I missed some of you as you came in. Karen, LeBlanc, Clyde. Clyde saying those floods in Texas is just gaming who stole the cookie from the cookie jar, always deflecting away from any personal decisions and responsibilities for those who have no actual skin in the game. I hear you. I hear you. Ooh, Heike Sorgay, welcome. I'm horrible with names. Welcome to the Horrible with Names show. Minnesota, awesome. Janelle's from Minnesota. I am in Central Missouri. And how many people did we get over here on the YouTuber? I see about 4 people commenting. Mary Jane, you came in. Yay, so happy I made it to alive. Hello from Sweden. Mary Jane's from Sweden. Sweet. I think you just gotta talk a lot, and then you might be able to get one of those crowns. The war for the crowns. And give it a thumbs up. See if we can mess with the algorithm a little bit. You guys know how we do. I hate asking for all that kind of stuff. Oh, and then on the Synergist panel, I got some donations and I didn't even realize they were coming in because I was paying so much attention to having so many people all at once in the studio, which was the first time I've ever filled that dang thing. But thank you for everybody that's donated. This is like a pay it forward operation. If you can, if you feel inspired to give and you want to help support the show, then I really appreciate it. It helps afford these things like StreamYard and the stock footage and music and the various things that I do for editing, Premiere Pro, all that kind of stuff. What is up, Don Davis? But yes, Mary Jane, you made it to alive, and I'm glad you're here. I wanted to get into some coffee stuff, and one of the questions that a lot of people always had when I was working at Starbucks, if you didn't know, I worked at Starbucks for like 10 years. I'm not promoting Starbucks. I burned that bridge. I don't even know if they would ever hire me back again. But that was back in my addiction days. Yes, try for that crown, Mary. Go for it. Try to get one of those purple crowns. And then I don't know how it works on the YouTuber. They've got little oh yeah, you guys got the smiley faces and stuff going. You got some scissors. How'd you get the scissors? There's all kinds of stuff like with the emotes and stuff over there. Anyways, at the end of my time at Starbucks, I was like very depressed, and I had broken it off with like a girl that I was engaged to, and I left my marriage for her, and I was like just out of my mind, like just hating life and giving into alcohol, and drank on the last shift of my job and just didn't give a rip anymore. And then they let me go to rehab, and then I came back thinking I was going to be good, and then they fired me, and it was just like, why'd you guys? And they had a whole like freaking they had a whole like shift a week of shifts like lined up for me, and my manager basically lied to me because I think she knew that she was gonna have to fire me. And then we sat down, and she said this was like she had worked for Starbucks for longer than me, and I had been there almost 10 years, and she said that this was the toughest day of her entire career, was having to let me go. And I was just like, it is what it is. I mean, it was like, I wanted to die, I was just like in that mode where it's just like F life and screw it all. So anyways, however, I was motivated to come back after going to rehab. It was just like one of those things where it's like morally, like it's cool that Starbucks helped me get through rehab, but then you brought me back and then just dropped me on my ass, and that, God, dude, it was so messed up. My manager cried, and I was just like, it was weird being fired and having to console my own manager and being like, it's all right, I'll figure it out. That's what eventually led to me going to massage therapy. But then we can get into that whole story too. Yes, let's stay on the positive. And one of the things that people always asked for were like these things called flat whites. And they always asked us if we had white coffee. And I didn't know much beyond Starbucks coffee when it came to coffee, but we're going to get into white coffee a little bit, which is a super light roast. And yeah, let's learn about white coffee because not a lot of people talk about it. And this is from the Coffee Vibe. Let's get some of this.
Ever wondered what makes white coffee different from other roasts? It's not just about the color. White coffee holds a unique roasting process and a distinct flavor profile that sets it apart. But how does it compare to your usual cup of joe? Well, it's time to spill the beans on white coffee. The magic of white coffee begins in the roasting process. Picture this. The beans are roasted at a much lower temperature than your typical dark roast. It's a slow dance, really, a culinary ballet that takes place over an extended period of time. This methodical roasting allows the beans to retain their natural flavors, resulting in a brew that's lighter in color, but harder in texture. You see, the heat doesn't penetrate as deeply into the beans as it does in darker roasts. And this gives white coffee its distinctive hardness. So the next time you savor a cup of white coffee, remember, it's not white in the literal sense, but a lighter roast that's packed with unique flavors. Now let's talk about taste, because isn't that why we love coffee? The flavor profile of white coffee is a unique blend of attributes. It's got a distinct nutty taste, a departure from the traditional bitterness of darker roasts. This light roast also boasts a lower acidity level, making it a friendly choice for those with sensitive stomachs. But don't be fooled by its mild personality. White coffee packs a caffeine punch that's sure to wake you up. So if you're looking for a smooth, nutty flavor with a caffeine kick, white coffee is your go-to. And there you have it, the light roast explained.
All right. And then they just get into pumping their channel. But yes, white coffee, so it's less roasted. It's got to be more acidic. I mean, coffee is comes from a cherry. It's a fruit. Shelby Wallace is in the house. If you know, then you know. But yes, white coffee is it's as I said there, it's way lighter roasted. Some of it's hardly even roasted, and therefore it some of the caffeine gets roasted out when you roast coffee. So some of the caffeine, you lose that with the deeper, darker roasts. You lose a little bit more caffeine from the roasting process. The white coffee is said to pack the punch. The white coffee has a ton of caffeine still in it, but then it is a little more acidic and maybe a little bit tougher on the stomach. So to be aware of that. Yes, and there is coffee that passes through the digestive tract of a feline, and it is expensive. If you want to buy coffee that goes through the feline digestive tract, it's like a delicacy. I don't know why humans are the way that we are. So anyways, there's white coffee, and then people would always come in and they'd ask for a flat white, and I never even knew what the heck that was. And I just did my freaking job. And I was good at my job. I was good at what it was for Starbucks, but I liked going and trying other coffees, but I didn't know all of these fancy things like flat whites and all that stuff. I didn't know what that was. I thought that it was like something that had to do with white coffee, but we'll take a look at a short little video here and take a look at that. You guys know anything about flat whites? This is the difference between a flat white and a latte.
What's the difference between a flat white and a latte? Isn't a flat white just a small latte? Nah. The main difference between a flat white and a latte is intensity. A latte is diluted with a bigger volume of milk than a flat white. So a latte is a bigger and milkier coffee versus a smaller, stronger flat white. Latte will usually be made with a slightly stiffer foam too, but that will mainly depend on where you're drinking your lattes or flat whites. Tatty bye. What's the difference between a flat?
So that's it's kind of weird how they explain that. But I've seen also the difference between like a cappuccino. So you see here, a latte has a certain amount of foam.
Flat white.
I hate how this see. Okay, has a certain amount of foam here. A cappuccino would have about foam at about halfway. So, or even maybe down, depending on how dry they wanted it. Dry meaning they would have less liquid in the cup. But a cappuccino and a latte, the difference between those is the amount of foam. Cappuccino tending to have a lot more foam. I don't know how it could have necessarily different foam than a flat white, but a flat white not having so much of the foam on top. When I've looked at this and other explanations too, it looks like there's more of a shot, like a longer shot of the espresso. So maybe having more caffeine and then less foam. But I'm learning about all that stuff because it's not stuff that I ever really got into when I was at Starbucks. But let's check out this flat white versus the cappuccino that I lined up. Flat white versus a cappuccino. Flat white. It's just interesting stuff to me. So right here, you can see that there's a whole bunch more in the flat white of caffeine, or espresso, I guess I should say. So it's must be a much more potent and strong drink. Ah, all right, so there it is. So now you can see like almost half the cup is I guess like a latte with the espresso milk mixed with the milk, it would go up higher. And on a cappuccino, you have almost half foam. And then depending on the dryness and how much people wanted in the cappuccinos, you usually have a lot more foam. People prefer that over the liquid. Creamy foam. I actually started liking cappuccinos for a while, but I don't care for milk too much. I guess there's soy milk and there's some other almond milk and various things that we kind of played with. There's a bunch of different ones, non-dairy milks. And I really had a hard time with dairy. I just didn't like having a lot of milk all the time. But then the flat white having just like that little top where it was white. I guess flat white, flatter, less foam on the top and more espresso. That's either a long shot of espresso. So even on the Starbucks machines, the espresso machines, that is, we had the ability to do a longer shot, just like more water coming through the concentrated espresso bean, the ground up espresso bean, and it would get as much of the caffeine out of it as possible. Basically, you get a little bit more caffeine out of a long shot as opposed to a regular shot of espresso. So I think that's what they're talking about there, but it's definitely more caffeine, it looks like, in a flat white, and then less foam than even a latte. I like talking about coffee. Coffee's kind of fun, Coffee's kind of one of those things that I can still enjoy and not lose my mind when I drink it. Drink alcohol, I start to lose my. I give in to too many bad. The spirits thing is real. And then this last one that's a little bit longer, but we don't necessarily have to watch the whole thing. I just came across it real quick this morning when I was throwing this together, and I was like, wow. Yeah, I want to try a flat white. Like, I got to go find a cafe now that actually does them and knows what they're doing, and try it. I think it would be. I like the idea of it being a smaller one, because I think they usually tend to come in a smaller cup. So like you wouldn't have like a 20-ounce, flat white. You'd have like the smaller drink, which I prefer. Like I'll even just do doppio espressos where it's just espresso, and then sometimes I'll tell them to put a dollop of foam in it, creamy foam, and mix that in, and then just freaking shoot it. But a flat white might be worth a try. Have more caffeine, and a smaller of a drink, and get you going for your morning. Kickstart you. Yeah, you guys got some conversations going on. I always appreciate that. I like half of the live stuff that I really like is just getting you guys all together. Not that everybody always joins, but if you have time and you see that I jump on, just getting together and being able to chat about whatever. So you guys can talk about whatever. It's kind of nice, because for like the first year and a half of this channel, I would create content and then just upload it. And because I wasn't doing lives and I wasn't doing those kinds of things. And so you'd get the comments coming in as people watch them. But this gives you a chance to all hang out together. So it's kind of cool. Hey, waiter, this coffee tastes like dirt. Waiter says, well, it was just ground this morning. Exactly. I love the coffee humor. I was doing a lot of coffee humor on the earlier coffee shop talks. And I found like, I think I went through almost all the really good jokes. There's more out there, but generally speaking, I'll have to go really search for them, because I went through a lot of the lists and went through a lot of the coffee humor. But there's some good ones out there. All right, so this is something that I just came across. I'll skip through some of this, but this is kind of wild. It's Ancient Coffee Factory, the traditional non-yang coffee making process in Pyongyang. So this is a different style. Like I said, we'll skip through some of this video as it goes because it's longer. But I want to show you guys this because I was just like, wow, I've never really seen it done quite like this. We'll stick with what we got here and let's do this. So what I wanted to show is look how freaking dark this is. Now this is super dark, and this is how it starts off. Here you got your white coffee, your you know, hardly roasted, what he gets, and then he puts it into his roaster. Now they're adding something. Like what is it that they're adding? They don't really talk through this video. They just show, and it's probably for a good reason because they don't want to give away the family secrets. But they're adding something to this white coffee. I mean, it looks like salt, and maybe it is. I don't know, but that would be a new one. I've never seen that before. It's like this old school machine. We'll get right to it, but now he's so he's roasting it in here. Excuse me, roasting in here. You know, mixing the beans around, and then the heats up. But at the same time, now he's scooping in like what looks like butter. And it's like he's got this like freaking coffee wok, like a flat coffee wok. That's crazy. Butters the whole thing up. Now coffee's still going back behind him. This whole like setup is like ancient style, you know, ancient coffee factory, about how they used to do it. And grind, you know, heating it up back here, mixing it in with whatever that was, like that salt. He's buttered this thing up. I've never seen it because most of the places that I've seen, they just have this process back behind here with the coffee where it's getting roasted. But watch this. What is that? What is that? Can we tell? Vanilla? Is it vanilla? I don't know. I mean, vanilla would be a liquid, right? I don't know what that is. Quite the difference between white coffee and this coffee. I'm telling you that much. And then what do we got here that he pours in? Yeah, I mean, it looks like butter, yeah, and that what he puts on the wok or whatever, but it could be a starch. Could definitely be starch. Baking soda or salt. Interesting. This has got to have some crazy flavor to it. Look at that. It's like a tar, like a thick. This is crazy. I've never seen coffee like this. I mean, it looks like chocolate. Talking about the Willy Wonka Coffee Factory. All right, let's skip ahead a little bit. Oh, here it is. Here it is. It is butter. Okay, so there's some butter into this. Whether it was butter earlier, I don't know, but now we're adding some butter into the mix. You'll get guys talking about grass-fed butter and that adding that to the coffee. The caffeine will mix with the butter and it'll release in the body over a longer period of time, as opposed to getting that heavy dose right up front. So the caffeine will last longer and get distributed or get released into the body slower with grass-fed butter. I don't know if that would be the case for what they got going on here, but this stuff looks crazy. And now he's putting it over onto his steel just heat with that he buttered up earlier. Look at this though. It's crazy looking. Yeah, I have never seen a process like this. And this, I mean, it looks really good. I mean, it's super freaking dark, so it's completely different than that white coffee we were showing earlier. But watch this. Like, then he lays it all out. Let's fast forward a little bit for time purposes. Look at this. It's super hard, almost like toffee, like peanut brittle, like coffee peanut brittle, because of the butter and all that kind of stuff. Wow. But they're not done yet. They're breaking it up. And then they gather it all up, and then it's like they're still grinding it, and then they grind it. Wow. That's quite the process. And it's finely ground in some areas and then bigger chunks in others. Here she goes. She's going to brew it. Pour over style. I want to know how that smells. I bet it smells so good. Wow, that's a dark cup of coffee with lots of flavor. It's got that butter in there. You can even see it in the surface. I just had to share that because that looked really good. And it was something like I had never seen done before with coffee. And it showed a contrast between from the beginning when we got into the coffee talk, that was where we had the white coffee all the way to this dark butter added. It looked like salt, which is interesting because you don't usually add salt and stuff like that to coffee, but it would enhance the flavor. The kind of salt would be interesting to find out what all they put in it, but that's probably like the ancient secret. And oh gosh, the smell must be amazing. And then it turns into like peanut brittle, and then they grind it up, and then they did that little pour over. Oh gosh, that would be so interesting to try that out. I wonder if you'd be able to order. After this, I probably am going to look up and see if you can order something like that. I want to try it. I want to try it real bad now. But anyways, so what do you guys got going on? Yes, that Sarah May saying that coffee is dark as you know what, and it looks thick. Exactly. It's got all kinds of different flavor profiles in it. The process that they use for roasting it and then adding it onto that hot plate and then turning it into like a brittle and then breaking it up and grinding it up. That was it was Penang. So that was the ancient coffee process in Penang. Here, I'll show you the site again. I can put it down there. I can put it down if you guys want me to into the description, or I'll put it into the share screen. I can put it into the comment section. Share this copy, but it's Ancient Coffee Factory, the traditional Nanyang coffee making process in Penang. I'll put it into the comment section, and I saved, I think, here on the YouTuber. I think everybody will get to see your guys' comments, because I think I saved the comments on that, which is something new to me, because Rumble doesn't allow you to save the comments, I don't think. I mean, if it does, then I need to figure it out. Anyways, what'd you guys think of that? What'd you guys think? You guys want to try all this coffee? You want to try the white coffee, the flat whites, and then you want to get in there and get that Penang, like ancient factory style, like this. That's why I turned this into the Willy Wonka's Coffee Factory episode. We talked a little news in the beginning. We got into some different coffees, all the way from the light roast. So I think, your white coffee would be like your more potent caffeine wise, but it would also probably tend to be a little bit more acidic. They were saying it has like a nuttier flavor. It would be closer to the cherry profile after it had been dried out in whatever process, like, whether it was sun dried or, the various methods they use to dry the beans or the cherries to turn it into what looks like the traditional coffee bean. And then you got the heavily roasted with added ingredients in the Penang ancient coffee style that we saw there in that old school like shop, of a different kind of roasting, a different way of doing it. And then they do a pour over style, which is very interesting, because then you can have the spoon and mix it in, and you have the ability to like make it a very rich and flavorful coffee, the way that we just saw it there with the Penang. Yes, and I love talking about this kind of stuff. Like like I mean, when I was an alcoholic, I was all into like, the different brews and the different whiskeys and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm thankful to be the heck away from that and sober, and I can still talk about stuff like coffee, because it's still something that I enjoy very much. Yes, keto. There's like the keto coffees and stuff like that. Calgon coffee scent. Take me away. Man, I'm so glad you guys joined here. Don't forget, give it a thumbs up on the YouTube. Let's see if we can get this YouTube channel to do a little bit of something. They haven't taken anything down. I put up the Q&A with Sabrina Wallace. I put up the Synergist panel. They haven't stopped me. I'm unstoppable. We're all over the place. We're on Substack. We're on X. We're on Rumble. We're on YouTube, Odyssey. And on Odyssey, you can go. I don't put every video on Odyssey. It's just a lot of work, guys, putting it on everything. If you're on X, I've made it so that you can download videos on X. On X, you can download the videos, cut them up, put them wherever you want, put them on your own channels, put them somewhere else, share them around. These are just kind of like, a little bit more relaxed most of the time. We got into a little bit of news in the beginning, but whatever anybody wants to talk about in the coffee shop, it goes. But just trying to enjoy ourselves a little bit in this crazy world too. The coffee shop talks are meant to be a little bit more mellow and we learned a little bit more about some coffee. Get some music playing, but I got it going on the YouTube on the fly during the live. So Substack, you guys will get to see that. On YouTube, I don't know where it actually started because I was like figuring it out, and then all of a sudden I was like, wow, it's actually on the YouTube. D-Booma-san actually figured something out on the fly. It was amazing. And then we got to see everything from the lighter roast to the darker roast to an ancient style coffee preparation method by Penang. And why did my music stop? We don't want the music to stop yet. We need that nice jazz in the background. I got my paperboy hat on. Thank you, Sarah May. Great job, Booma. The kitty update. Yes, thank you for reminding me, Vicky. The only kitty update I have is that everything is going fine. We had windows and a doorway replaced yesterday, so there was lots of construction going on. So the cats were freaking out. Spooks, the mom, was not happy. But she came back later and got her dinner and everything's chill. But right before I came on live, I went outside. Our front door faces my car. I have an older car sitting out there, and that's where some of the cats were hiding. All the cats are now down by the shed, the kitties, the kittens, and that's where Mama spends most of her time. There's also a groundhog underneath there, so I don't know how they coexist because this groundhog's huge. Anyway, there's a groundhog down there, and the little kittens are under there with the groundhogs. Maybe they're friends. But there's one kitten, the one that has gotten caught twice underneath the hood of a car. The one that my dad grabbed and it screamed like a baby child. I saw it this morning. It's the calico one. It's the one that's been caught 3 times now. And it's like, I don't believe in reincarnation really, but that thing must have been a mechanic in a past life. I think it's a mechanic in a past life because this cat continues to defy all the others and hide up in the engine compartment of my old car. So you guys need to come up with some names for this one. It's a calico cat, and it just loves being in the car engine. And it must have spent all day. That's the monster kitty. I call it the monster kitty right now, but you guys can come up with a different name if you want. I was gonna call it Grease Monkey because it loves the engines of the car. And so whatever you guys think, whatever. Oh man, whatever you guys think for the name of the cat that just will not let it go. And even though we've caught them multiple times in the engines when we lift up the hood, that cat, it was hiding. It was underneath the car, and I snuck out the front door, and I was like, "I see you!" And I watched its little butt go up into the engine compartment. Oh, kitty. Haven't seen the skunk ever since the skunk update, so I don't know what that thing's doing. It probably did not like the construction yesterday. But now I got to go mow the lawn with my dad and get that done. We got a lot of property, so it helps to have 2 people. So we're going to get out there and we're going to mow the lawn. But thank you for tuning in to Coffee Shop Talk. This was number 30 live on both the YouTuber and Substack. So I appreciate you all. If you come up with some names, we'll talk about it for the Grease Monkey engine compartment calico kitty. But that little monster is still out there and it's still in the engine compartment. Anyways, this was July 10th, 2025. God bless you all, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.